All right, VF1000RS here. I am out in the garage today. I'm not getting much done, I can tell you that. But I wanted to show you something.
Probably kind of big name.
Sorry about that.
Got the Staccato HD lineup, which
this is my
Glock Max.
Let me swap it around here for you.
You with this, and you're like, "Hey, Jake, has the sound gone away of the plastic buffer yet?"
This is my VF400F resto mod. I call it a resto mod because definitely is not stock. So I've done a couple things to this. I found a rolling chassis up in the mountains of Colorado on Craigslist. I saw the tail sticking out on the ad. Everything was there except the motor and the carburetors. And the story goes, this one is actually the test bike that Cycle Guide brought over in 1983, I believe, thinking that this might be the next VF500 or the base for the VF500, which it actually was. But this is supposed to be the actual bike. So at least the frame, the chassis, rolling hardware, bodywork is supposed to be that bike. So I have that magazine. The guy gave me the same magazine. Funny thing is, I had it years ago when it came out. I've been following these for a long time, and I figured, well, it's a VF400, and the 500 block is based on the 400. So wouldn't it surmise that the 500 would fit in the 400 frame? So what I did is I went up, I talked to this guy and I arranged a meeting. I went up, looked at what he had, which was a complete bike minus the engine and the carburetors. You know, all the cables were there, the wiring was there, everything else. On the same trip up in the mountains, I was talking to another guy because I had kind of figured out, well, all right, if the, boy, looking a little fuzzy today, but anyway, it's humid here. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So the 500 Magna, the V30 Magna, is essentially a VF500 Interceptor motor, but it's got some different cams in it, some different gearing, but essentially it's got the same bore and stroke, and it's chain drive, which mattered to me. Well, this guy had one with 5,000 miles on it, and so on the same trip, believe it or not, I took a couple hours and drove up into the mountains, and I picked up the 400 chassis, and then I picked up the V30 Magna, complete bike with a title. Both of them actually had a title. And picked them both up, brought them back home, and here we are some years later. My buddy Chuck Forey helped me for the initial trial fit of the motor, and we were quite surprised, but sort of not, that it went right in. What I've had to do to make this work, sorry, a little soda water for me. What I've had to do to make this work is I used a set, I didn't have them, but I used a set of 500 Interceptor carbs because the original V30 Magnum motor bike, entire thing that came with this, had California. It was a California bike, so it had all the emissions crap on it. So I got a set of 500 Interceptor carbs, put those on the 500 Magnum motor. But anyway, slotted this in. Then a couple things that had to be done. I used the bigger radiator from the V30 Magna compared to the VF400. And so you can see that here. And I kind of, let's see if I can get this working right. There you go. It's got the scoops on the side, just like very similar to what the 500 Interceptors have. They have the extra scoops in the VF400F in Europe. They added extra scoops on top of the fairing to add greater cooling capacity when you're moving. But anyway, clean those up, made them pretty. Works very well, actually. Had to do a neutral switch. Then I also had to do a ground for the fan stat switch. Turn on the fans. The interesting thing about the V30 Magna, it's got a gear indicator, so it tells you what gear you're in, blah, blah, blah. This doesn't have that on the gauges. And so what I did is that particular wire through the wiring loom, I used, technically it runs the neutral light on this bike. There is no gear indicator on this bike, and I don't care. I count gears. I don't have any gear indicators except the 700 Nighthawk. And anyway, I went through the wiring diagram and figured it out. I'm not great on wiring by any means, but this one, I figured out that, well, I could use that gear indicator wire, and that would run my neutral light. So when I shift this into neutral, then my light would turn green. Well, guess what? It works. The other thing I did, and the seats on it, I could pull it off, I suppose, but maybe I will here in a little bit. I'll pull it off once we get the bike running. I got a set of, they're not around anymore, but V4 Spark makes a set of spark boxes for the V30 Magna. I'm surprised they don't make it for the 500 Interceptor, but they made it for the Magna. Well, this is a Magna motor, and I picked up a set of spark boxes for that to replace the original Magna boxes, which are 40 years old now. And they work great. But anyway, shall we start it? Okay, hang on. Thanks, babe.
That gun shoots very nice. This is a case of
All right, let's see here.
a very well-designed comp. And if I recall right, I believe that the comp is 3D printed. And much with suppressor technology, where 3D printing allows you to do geometry.
I haven't started this in
all that kind of stuff. That
a couple months.
traditional machining techniques are a little bit more difficult. I think that's what's happening here. I think that they have actually 3D printed a comp that is effective, and we're going to illustrate that momentarily. You should know.
give it a little choke, and you gotta give it a little gas to get it to fire. And when it does, it's finicky. Choke versus take the choke off. Choke is fully off at this point. You may have seen it's got a whole shot 4-in-1 header on it. Another interesting point of this, like everything just seemed to fall in place. About 2 weeks after I got this rolling chassis and the other bike, I was talking to a guy who used to be in one of the forums, and he had a new old stock or NOS whole shot header for it. And he said he also had a Fox shock, which I showed you the reservoir. He had both of those. The weird thing is, he was here in town. And I drove over and met him. I've known him before. He's a big 500 Interceptor fan, active on forums and all that. Sold me both of those for a very reasonable price. And I jumped at the chance and got them. And I had Jamie Doherty at Doherty Motorsports. Actually has done several things for me, but he rebuilt this Fox shock, and it's great. I really love it. I installed the 4-in-1 on it. I refinished the rear downpipes because it is a V4 Honda from the 80s, and the aftermarket companies never made real rear downpipes for them. They just use the stock Hondas because then the stock Honda collector box bolted in place. I assume that's because they wanted the collector box to bolt up easily for any of the aftermarket systems. But anyway, I refinished that. New gaskets all around, blah, 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 all that stuff. And so I rode it this way for a while, but the other thing I had done, and I don't get paid for this crap, but anyway, the people I use for the tank was pretty rusted on the inside and full of old gas. So I sent it to Moyer's Fuel Tank Renew, excuse me. And they cut off the bottom, they blast out the inside, get all the rust out of it, all the old crap. Actually, first they bake it so there's no fuel vapors or anything like that. Excuse me. Then they cut off the bottom, blast everything out of it. They weld it all back together. If there's screens inside, which a lot of these V4s have, you have to cut those off because otherwise they get clogged with the sealer going through the petcock. So they usually cut those off and blow air while they're doing it. Weld everything back together after blasting it out. Seal it up, bake it, and then they primer it. Now the problem with doing it that way, I don't think it's the best way to do it, is you lose the paint. Luckily, I know how to paint and do body work. So once it came to me, I finally stripped everything down. I took it for one last ride, and people were giving me a hard time because I took this thing out. The tank was still in primer, original paint, blah, 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 all this stuff. And there was snow and ice and water and rocks and cars trying to kill me and all that stuff. But I took it for a ride. Then I came home, I gave it a bath. And for the next couple of years, I got I rebuilt this thing, and I went all the way down to the frame. Everything was off, and the frame powder coated, nice red, as it was. And rebuilt the master cylinders, clutch, slave, and master, brakes, calipers. This one has interesting thing. People, Europeans were like, oh, these are terrible. Inboard disc brakes. They're actually inboard. They're not drums. They are in a cover in the middle of the disc, but they are actually inboard discs. So the caliper actually rides inboard. The disc itself is actually, what do you want to say? It's sort of hollow in the middle, and the caliper rides on the inside, like the old. It reminds me of Subaru wheels, but it's not. Anyway, surprisingly, these work quite well on this bike. Of course, I rebuilt them. All new seals, all new pads, cleaned everything up. And they stopped the bike quite well. Also rebuilt the forks. And I went through and I put new head gaskets in it, and I put valve guide seals in it. You know, these are 40-year-old motors, so they tend to, the rubber tends to go bad in them, but if it lasted 40 years, I got to give it to Honda for doing that. So they did a good job. It's got braided front brake lines, braided rear brake lines. I did a couple of things. I did, made it pretty. So I powder coated the engine side covers, new gaskets, of course, and I did stainless hardware to bolt those on. And I did this a little different than stock, just because it's not really stock, and I like the look. Plus, I kind of did a similar thing on the V45 Interceptor project that I'm working on. The other thing you'll notice is I did all Samco hoses, just so I have new hoses on it. Now, they don't make a kit for this, plus this is a custom bike, so they wouldn't have a kit for this. And so I went through and I ordered what I thought I needed diameter-wise and angle-wise and that kind of thing. And anyway, it works good. It is just the funnest little thing that I've ridden. It's just amazing. It handles like it's on rails. You think about turning, and it turns. You know, it's just a lot of fun. Oh, and also, minor detail. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I did all the body work on this after I got the tank back from Moyers. I wrote it just in primer for a long time, and then I totally redid the bodywork. Sand prime, fill, sand prime, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I got a new decal set. Another one of the suppliers I use is CB decals. I've known Mark for a long time, ever since I did a bike years and years and years ago. I've used them several times. I think they make quality decals. Again, I'm not getting paid for this, but he's somebody using. I think they do a good job. So painted all that, did the decals, did the clear, all that stuff. I think it turned out pretty good. It's a fantastic little bike, and you'll probably never see another one. Oh, also, I found a new old stock seat from CSML in the Netherlands. Now, that amazed me because I had the one I had a split in it, so I had it recovered, but it was in red, and I don't like it on this bike. But then I went searching, and I found a new old stock seat, and I think you'll agree it's perfect. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this. Hope it's enjoyable. Hope you don't just ignore it. So I'll see you later. VF400F.